Hello everyone. On Monday I posted a video saying that I was going to clean out the new polytunnel at the back, the third polytunnel, clean it out, dig it over and get it ready for planting. So Tuesday cleaned it out, Wednesday dug it over, yesterday gave it a very good watering, and today we're going to plant it up. But these are some of the plants that I want to put in there, some of the tomato plants. So we'll have a quick look at these and then we'll go into the other tunnel and we'll get busy. So these are my Crimson Crush tomato plants. They've been planted there a couple of weeks now. I'm not really sure, to be honest, but they're moving on quite well. And I took the side shoots off and I planted them into one of these module trays. Each one of these modules is roughly equivalent to a 3-inch pot, and there's some in the ground there. Now they went all floppy within a couple of days. That's normal, I expect that, but I'm seeing signs of growth now, simply because some of the leaves are not quite so floppy. They're getting some strength and rigidity. And where is that one? I've just seen this one over here. You might just notice there's a flower coming. Now this is a sure sign that these are forming roots. I've looked underneath of these plants. There's no roots coming out the bottom yet. They'll need another 3 or 4 days, I think, before I can plant them up. And I'm going to reserve a spot for them in the third polytunnel, which is where we're heading right now. So we're just walking into the tunnel now, and immediately on this right hand side you can see this bed down here. It's about 3.5 foot wide and the tunnel is 18 foot long, so is the bed, and that's where all those Crimson Crush side shoot cuttings will be going. I'll fill that bed with them, and all this lot will be going over this side. It's all been dug over. The boards on the soil are there to walk on, so I don't compress the soil too much over the season, and means I can get at the plants easier. We'll have a quick look at the plants before we move on. You can see at the far end down here I've got aubergines. There's about 8 of them in there, then a couple of chilies. There's only 3, I think. The rest of those are peppers, and then we get on to the exciting bit. These are tomatoes, all of them, and all of these were from seed that were given to me this year, and a lot of it came from America, from Audrey from Real Food Comes Dirty, and the others came from Tony Smith. He's some guy, never heard of him, but he's out there on the web. So thank you to Audrey and Tony for the seeds. So the sun comes up in the morning at my back as we're looking at this tunnel now, and then arcs around to my left and along this side of the left hand side of the tunnel, and finishes up at the far end of the tunnel over the fields there as it sets. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be putting 2 lines of tomatoes down this pathway edge, 1 line there and then 1 line next to it all the way down, and then as we move over in the bed, peppers and aubergines will be planted there, so that the height of each don't really affect each other. That's the plan anyway, and we'll see how that works. And then each will be in a planting pocket so that I can get at them. This tunnel is 12 foot wide. It's actually about 12.5 foot wide and 18 foot long. And it's now coming up to its first birthday. It's just about a year old that it's been up. I was late planting it last year. Not too concerned about when I'm planting it this year, because this year I'm turning this over to test, and to be honest with you, this is the biggest space I've ever devoted to a test ever. I love doing tests. I love finding out where you can go with plants and what you can get away with, what else you can do. It's all part of my psyche, that, and it's how you learn and find things out and what works and what doesn't. So anyway, I'm turning this whole tunnel over to a test this year, and it's to test this new thing that you'll have heard on Tony's live shows, you'll have heard me talk about in a previous video, and it's this fertigation. So these tomatoes are going in, and this is unusual for me. I'm not putting any feed in with them. This is bizarre. I've never done this before. I must be nuts. Well, I am nuts, but anyway. Normally I put some compost in, or at least some blood, fish and bone. This is totally against everything I know, really, but in for a penny, in for a pound. If you don't test, you'll never know. So these are black strawberry plants, and the part of the seeds that Audrey sent me. And it's a variety, in fact all the tomato varieties I'm planting in here today are varieties I've never grown. So that in itself is a test I'd be interested in doing, and turning the whole tunnel over too. But I do want to test this fertigation method, and there'll be more of that in upcoming videos. So I say, if you want to follow along and see how I get on with this, I'm fairly confident, otherwise I wouldn't be turning over this much space to a test. I'm fairly confident it's going to produce absolutely stunning crops. And the best way to see that is to hit the big red button just down here in the corner and subscribe. I mean, it's free, it doesn't cost you anything, so why wouldn't you? Anyway, that's black strawberry, and that's the weirdest thing I've ever done, planted tomatoes without any feed. And for today, I'm just going to water them in. I'm going to do nothing else with them, and we'll start the feeding regime tomorrow. Okay, we'll go and have a look in here. I've got a lot of planting done now. Right, so in here, in this corner, we've actually got 4 rows of plants. So if I look at it lengthways, there's 2 rows of tomatoes and then 2 rows of other plants, but I've mixed them up a little bit and I'll explain my way through them. There's a couple of chilies there. We're not big chili eaters, so they're not very fierce. They're Anaheim, they're right down the bottom on the Scoville scale. Then we've got a couple of peppers, and I've got 2 little spots of peppers in here, and these are the box peppers, as I call them, the California Wonders. Nice and easy to grow, ripen, all different colours, yellow, orange, red. Then we've got a couple, 4 aubergines, then again 4 more peppers, and then 4 more aubergines. Now moving on to the tomatoes, we've got black strawberry here, then these are, wait for it, blue chocolate. These are the Brad's Atomic Grape, and these are Barry's Crazy Cherry, as are these 2 on their own. I will flash up a picture of the Barry's Crazy Cherry, which is the one that interested me and why I'm now growing them. So I've got 6 of those, and the blue chocolate and the black strawberry. All those seeds were sent to me by Audrey from Real Food Comes Dirty, and these Brad's Atomic Grape, the seed was sent to me by Tony. He's grown them from the last couple of years, but they were from seed from Audrey from Real Food Comes Dirty. So I've planted all these, just popped them in the ground, green side up as always. Absolutely no feed underneath these plants at all. I could have cheated, could have put a load of bloodfish and bone, got really good plants, but that would have skewed the test, wouldn't it? I'm going to be liquid feeding with these using fertigation methods, and yes, it's the biggest test I've undertaken really. I think I've done a few that's near this size, but also on this side, in this empty bed, all those crimson crush plants that I showed you earlier, the little side shoots, they'll all be going in here as well, and that's what makes it the biggest test I've ever done, because the whole tunnel is turned over to it. And I've even got a little cucumber down there, I think that's Beth Alpha, they're little half-sized cucumbers, and another one very similar called La Diva in there. So that's this little tunnel sort of planted out. So these plants have all been put down in sections, and there's a board in between so that I don't compress the soil too much when I walk on it in between the plants, to get up and down and, you know, do maintenance, take out side shoots, water, weed, all the usual things, tie the plants in. Talking about tying them in, I'm thinking I might go back to doing the string up where I wind the plants up, but if not, I'll just put some canes in, make a structure and tie them into that. I'm not too sure on that yet, I'll have a think. They don't need any support at the minute, another couple of weeks before I have to commit to that. So we'll go from there. Now this is going to get very interesting. I'm going to do a couple of things to these plants as they grow to help increase its overall harvest and yield. You'll all know, if you've seen the last video, that I'm following this thing in here, doing a test and trial on fertigation, a cross between fertilizer and irrigation, so you feed at the same time as you water, which is something I've always done with tomatoes. I've never just liked to just give them water. I always put a little bit of feed in. So this is a step on in my journey with that, but it's also a massive leap because it's something I haven't done before. So I'm looking forward to learning and finding out all about this, and it will give me an insight into whether I want to do it for a full season next year, which will be, you know, obviously from January onwards next year, and get the full benefit of a full season. So don't forget, hit the big red button down here, subscribe, and you'll be able to follow my journey and see how I do and any issues or problems I come across. And you know, in today's cost of living crisis that we're at the minute, it's something that's free. Just hit the big red button, hit the bell, select all. You'll never miss one of my videos, and I'll be eternally grateful. So there we go. So yeah, very interesting this year, and I'm really looking forward to this. Hopefully these Crimson Crush will go in at the end of next week, hopefully. But that's it for today. Look after yourselves, everyone. Please stay safe, and I'll see you all very soon. Ta-ra now.